continuously every single day trying to get better in these different areas of your life.
Welcome.
Hey, man, we back, man.
What's happening with you, brother?
Yeah, man. I'm chilling, man.
At
To the fork, that's what's happening.
At another undisclosed location.
And we on tour, baby.
We on tour.
2020, 2021. Tour on the fork. We got a special guest.
That's
Internationally known, locally respected,
And love.
and love.
Y'all brothers. I don't even know what y'all
Virtual-
talking about right
Tall
now.
black guy.
Yes, sir.
What's going on,
Yes,
fellas?
sir.
Congrats to y'all brothers for consistently all the time dropping knowledge.
Hey, man, we
For-
appreciate you coming through, man.
Appreciate that,
What,
man.
a year and a half almost? Is
Almost
that
a
what
year.
it is?
Since we didn't chop, it's been, I mean, as a group,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so.
we want to take this time to say thank you, bro, for the intro.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
We've been
sir.
riding that motherfucker
Hey,
heavy.
Hey, baby, you know, we just trying to be a part of the
People
dope
asking,
things.
who is that? Who did that?
Outro, too.
Yeah, I tell everybody that you did it specifically for this.
Yeah.
Right.
But I let them believe that for at least 30 minutes, and then I tell them, like, nah.
Nah, I don't. Hey, people still think that.
One device, one method, one thing.
Yeah,
That's
we
what it is.
appreciate it, man.
Hey, thank y'all, man. I thank y'all, man. Y'all done helped me out too, so it's an even trade, yo.
Yes, sir.
So-
yes, sir.
I'll be making assumptions that people know all of this shit that we be doing and talking about. And Life does a good job of keeping me in check, bro. Can you kind of tell people who you are and
Yeah.
intro to yourself?
Yes, sir.
So I go by Terrel Wallace, aka Tall Black Guy, producer, musician, father, world traveler, you know, and overall just trying to get better in this thing we call life.
Yeah.
But I use my art to do that.
Yep.
Okay.
You
Heat
know what I mean?
maker.
Beat maker, the whole kit and caboodle. You know what I mean?
Heat.
So yeah, you know that's kind of what I do. For those that don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell them where to check you out too, man.
Yeah, so one thing I do say is just if you Google Tall Black Guy, that'll pretty much give you everything you need to know.
Right.
But,
So
you got your Instagram, Tall Black Guy, Twitter, Tall Black Guy Productions, Instagram, Tall Black Guy Productions, I forgot the Productions, Facebook, Tall Black Guy Productions, and I have a whole good website, but the good brother we call right here, my man, Life.
hey, man.
You know, so everything's in the family.
Yeah, we
We
do
spread
it.
all the love and
Yep.
we keep it moving.
Yep.
That's what it is.
Yeah. It's good to have you, man. You if you check him out, man, you won't regret it. This cat is uber talented, man, and just all around fine fellow,
Yeah.
good individual.
Where's your mic, bro? You straight on the mic?
I'm good right here.
I can't see it. Oh, you got,
It's
okay.
underneath. Is it underneath? Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure.
You want me to get it out?
Yeah. You kind of like, can you flip it? Yeah, like that.
There?
Make sure that, yeah, can you see it? Let me see. Yeah, okay,
That's
cool.
cool? All right.
Yeah. What's your thoughts about kind of what you've been saying on the podcast and like kind of like some of the things that you've been getting from it and how you've been kind of,
I mean, it's just, I mean, a lot of the stuff that you guys are talking about is things that, for me personally in my life, you know, the whole process, going through the process of things, rather it be a certain type of work situation, being patient to let this thing, see this whole thing out, or in relationships when it comes to trying to be the best person in that relationship, but it takes a while for you and another person who have their equally crazy things going on with them. How do you be that as one? That takes time.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So a lot of the stuff I think, and I think I just love it because it's just brothers that's kind of talking about this stuff on shit that you probably think alone,
Yep.
you know, and you feel like nobody's really would want to talk about it or not listening.
Yeah.
And these are conversations that at least our friend circle has,
Yeah.
again, to individually take bits and pieces from everybody and try to learn how to navigate and do better as you go forward. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's funny, man, because we do, like, when we all get together, these are the kind of conversations that we have.
Right.
But we've never, like, until we started talking about it, how to figure out how to tell those stories.
Yeah.
Tell our stories.
Yeah.
In a way that other people can then, benefit from it too. So
Yeah.
we appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
Because we having the conversation. I mean, we didn't sat up at night, bro.
Yeah.
We didn't
Yeah.
laugh,
Yeah.
cried,
Yep.
everything
Yeah.
solid
Yeah.
brothers
Yeah.
could
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
Just trying to figure all of this shit out.
Yeah.
We done all
Yeah.
been through marriages,
Yeah.
trying to figure out what the other side of that shit look like,
Yeah.
trying to figure out how to, work on ourselves and new relationships and how to accept somebody else and
Yeah.
Yeah.
incorporate all these new ways of thinking and
Yeah.
interacting with somebody else, man. And ain't none of that shit easy. And,
Nope.
and I feel so fortunate in our circle of folks, bro, that we create space to have them kind of conversations. And that's one of the reasons why Tune the Fork actually exists, because it's something that we wanted to share with other people.
Yep.
Because we do feel like it's special. Even when we're in it,
Yeah.
we know that this is like some special shit
Yeah.
that motherfuckers have and that we share.
Yeah.
And just being able to create a space for brothers to just
Yeah.
have them kind of conversations, man.
Yeah. And it's special, dog, but it's also common. Like,
Yep.
we run across dudes all the time, man, who
Right.
listen and watch, and they get it. I mean, they get it off the top. There's no need for further explanation on it,
There it
because a
is.
lot of the ideas and a lot of the concepts are things that a lot of us experience, man. But
Yeah.
there's no stories for us
Mhm.
for that. There's
No.
stories for other things. There's movies and stories and
Yeah.
books. But for how we struggle and how we deal with it and how we want to show up, dog, there are no stories for it. So
Right. Yeah, man. I mean, and now I'm trying to think, like, even in my, earlier, me growing up to be a man or whatever, I don't even really think even with some of my closest friends, we never went down this path. And I don't know that comes with age or wisdom.
Yeah.
Do you start having these conversations and are gravitating towards people who do that?
yeah, that's a good point, dog.
You know
And
what I mean? Because
yeah.
let's say 10 years ago, I don't
Yeah.
think I would be talking
Yeah.
about stuff like this.
Same.
And we're all sort of, in the sense that we're all
Ballpark.
on a level creatives.
Yes.
So
yes.
that lends itself to a different sort of outlook, that we're receptive to different kinds of things. But
Yeah.
again, I talk to people who are accountants and whatever
Yeah.
else they do,
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But they still sort of have a shared experience.
Yeah.
But I think we all sort of gravitated because of what we do.
Yeah,
And
the
we,
creative
we
side.
have a shared love for
Yeah.
for sounds and music and,
Yeah.
and good shit. So
Right.
And that's crazy how people outside of the creative community in DC don't know that shit exists.
right.
And when they see kind of like my circle and crew of folks and how this person does this and this person does that,
Yeah.
and they're like, damn, that like actually exists.
Yeah.
But when it's like a radio station on the fucking in your car, bro. You got all these stations
Yep.
that are transmitting.
Yep.
But when you tune your car to that,
Yeah.
you actually start tapping in
Yeah.
to that shit. And sometimes, like, once you get your idea of what your shit is, you
Yeah.
gravitate and attract
Yep.
that like vibe for
That's
that
right.
kind of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's real.
What I'm about to say, what's crazy is, like, before, because I used to stay, for those that don't know, I lived abroad for about 5.5 years. And the one thing that I had to try, it was cool to live over there because I got to experience a lot of stuff that was dope. But on the flip side, I was kind of in isolation. So it was me by myself with my art, didn't really have other people to really feed off of.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, at least in my local vicinity. And truth be told, at least in my mind, I didn't feel like anybody was on the level of that to me to even be able to, at least on the creative side, get with it, let alone trying to be equally yoked with somebody that's going to be potentially my friend.
Right.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
I remember right before I left, I was like, man, I wish I had I just threw it out there. I just said it.
Yeah.
Wish I had a circle of friends and, it was all creatives. We just kind of bounce ideas, thoughts,
Yeah.
ideologies, that whole
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
This is in all
Yeah.
of 2016.
Yeah. Wow.
I came back home to live in the United States 2017. Came back in the meeting, you know, obviously, you know, the homie, DJ Cleveland Brown, she's my girl now,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
came to DC and she, you know, she was cool right off the back, but then she introduced me to you,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and then I just spawned off, you know,
Yep.
you know, Corey T,
Yeah.
Ebony, you know, Harvey Den, and
Yeah.
Nate, and all of them. But all of us, again, are all creators in our own ways,
Yeah.
but still, we provide space for each other to talk about different issues and
Yeah.
things that are on our mind,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which I'm so thankful for. You know what I mean?
It's funny, man, that it's like it feel like it's been longer. Like we've been
Yeah.
kicking it for a long ass time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's- yeah.
Dog, like childhood type
Exactly.
shit.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's wild.
So you know, I'm grateful.
Yeah.
And so normally we have specific topics
Yeah.
that we kind of go and focus on and kind of see where the vibe and the energy
Yeah.
goes with the shit.
Yeah.
And one of the things we do, you are actually our second round of guests that we have. We just really just toying with the idea of how to include, you know, additional energy and how we can manage that to expand on these ideas. But
Right.
Yeah.
one of the things that we tossed around before we came on was like this concept of excuses.
Yeah.
And a lot of what we talk about on the back end, I feel in some cases, is just how we recognize when we're actually making a fucking excuse, and kind of like using our friendship and our connections to kind of, hey man, you bullshitting right there, bro.
Yeah.
Like, you know that was just some wild shit, or you know, whatever it is.
And in
Yeah.
the case of you, brother, slight.
Yeah, it's like,
That's like that's where that spawned that
Yes,
from.
It's clean.
yes,
That
slight.
came from
That's
that.
clean.
And then the
So-
responses is clean.
Yeah,
You know, the
it's-
whole
it's clean. It's
It's
clean.
clean. That, I mean, that's real.
That is
Yeah.
it.
You know what I'm saying?
That is it.
So when I asked you if there were some thoughts that you were thinking about, that you wanted to kind of spend some time to focus on, and this is a space, dog, as you know, of love, bro. So whatever your comfort level is with sharing or whatever, just kind of give us some insight into what was kind of like going on with you in terms of what triggered you to want to
Talk about that
talk
piece.
about excuse.
And also, let's define the term like excuses and what that means to like if it might mean something different to you. It might
Yeah, that's
mean,
a good point.
you know what I'm saying?
So what I think it would be an excuse is
Well, what do you think excuses are? I mean, you think they're like there's excuses like like he just said, you know you don't want to do something, so you try to figure out a way to say something
Right.
to get you out of doing something. And
Right.
then there's times when you, I mean, it gets deep, man. You could be, because there are times when you're afraid of the effort it would take in order to achieve this
that's
thing.
what I was gonna say. Probably
Right.
the effort.
So
the
you kind of fall back.
you've kind of fall back,
Right.
and I'm not gonna fully commit and
Yeah.
do my best
Yeah.
100% of the time.
Yeah.
I'm going to cut corners
Yeah,
to not want to complete this task.
yeah, yeah.
That's what I think an excuse is.
Okay, okay,
You know what I mean?
right.
That's and, you know, and it's I mean it's a broad subject. You know
Yep.
what I mean? But that's the essentially what it is. Not giving your 100% the best
Right.
and whatever. That's literally on the love of keeping your word.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey
And
man,
then
I'm gonna come pick you up
Yeah.
at 6:00. You overslept and don't come until 8:00.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's your, you know,
What's your excuse?
what's your excuse?
Yeah.
Because there is, and we were talking about this in the car on the way here. There's a difference between an excuse and a reason.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
So,
exactly.
but like your point, making a justification for you not doing your best. Because I think if you do your best and not achieve,
Yeah.
that's not an excuse.
Yeah.
That's a reason.
Yeah. And also, if you're being, and we talked about this too, if you're being slight, and you know you being slight,
Yeah, that's
and you say, hey, man, I was just being slight. Is that still an excuse, or you just like,
No, because I don't think
Because you own
owning it.
right? Right.
Okay, I got you.
And that's a part of it. You're like,
you owning it, but if you saying, no, man, I'm not, you know.
Yeah, right.
Then,
right.
yeah, you delusional.
Right.
So when you wanted to have a conversation about it, now that we've defined it, what kind of, talk a little bit about why you wanted to kind of like chat about that.
I'll just go from, my discipline of like music. That's my job, that's my life, that's what I've spent the last 22 years still trying to achieve this dream, which I have done abundantly above all, what I mean? But I think what really spawned it was the pandemic and the conditions of the pandemic.
Yeah.
And particularly, and I'm only speaking from my experience, I don't know anybody else's, but this is my experience.
Right.
The pandemic all shut us down.
Yeah.
Mentally, physically, everything. The whole world was in shambles because we couldn't control it. And, people found different ways to kind of cope and figure out what they're going to do next. Everybody has children and things like that.
Yeah.
And, particularly in my situation, when the pandemic first happened, I got asked to do this album in Cleveland, hence why I live there now, right? So, I had to make an album. And so, obviously, the pandemic's about to happen. I'm about to, go and uproot my family and go move to Cleveland to go complete this task, but I don't know anybody. We can't record the way that we want to record. All these different obstacles were in this path, along with being a new parent.
Yeah.
That was what the biggest thing was. It's just, I'm in the late, I had children, child late, and so having to navigate, with a child and still trying to fulfill the obligation that I had to make this commitment to make this album, and it was a lot of challenges. I learned a lot about myself in that, again, the process that it was going to take for me, I had to go through all that,
Yeah.
Figuring out how we going to navigate and raise our child and still have a fruitful relationship on top of that, and communicate with these artists and it was just so many different things throwing that. So fast forward, not only did, we get through the whole thing, but I completed the task that I was presented, and I could have made it every excuse in the world to not finish, whatever. It was so many different things. I mean, I'm not gonna say too much about it, but but yeah, it just it's just like literally put your boots on and get it done somehow.
Yeah.
Find a solution.
Yeah.
And fix the problem and solve the problem.
Yeah.
And it was just multiple different things. And I felt like this was probably the first time in my life that I've had a lot of different obstacles I felt, was thrown at, but the job was done.
So let me ask you this. So when you, like this project that you did, your role, because I see exactly what you're saying, dog, and it kind of sparked something in me thinking about it. Your role, because you're traditionally, you are the creative. You're creating the music. You're not necessarily, I might be, correct me if I'm wrong, or talk to me about your role. You're not necessarily the producer and coordinating all these things and all these different people and all this all these logistics.
Not at that magnitude, no.
Right. So that as a new role in a pandemic where everything is up in the air, kind of changes everything.
Yes.
So talk to me about, because I struggle with like having to do all these things, but my, what I'm good at and where I am is here, but I'm, and I think we all do. Like there's all this stuff that needs to happen, but so then it becomes a little overwhelming. So
and truth be told, man, it was, I had a lot of breakdowns.
And we don't get to say this shit is overwhelming. We don't, like, as men, we always got to just handle it. We can't say, hey man, wait a minute, this shit is too much. I can't.
But we don't say it, but we act.
We act out.
Right.
That's what that is.
We feel it.
Acting out is we're saying it in other ways.
Right,
But
yeah.
but to your point,
Right.
Yeah.
we can't just verbalize it
No.
like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because it might come out with us being too short with our women.
Yeah, yeah.
Or
which causes another set of problems.
yeah, or
Right.
I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna make this concession at this point in time. This is what the fuck I said, so this is what it is.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
And then next thing you
Exactly.
know, it's a
It's
whole another
It's a
set of
whole
things,
different
man.
thing, right? And that spirals into. So
Yeah.
speak to that, man, because I think that's critical.
I had a real tough time when the pandemic first happened. I just had Andrew, and I was like, "Yo, one, I'm about to be a father,
Yeah,
and not only that, we were going through all of that police brutality. Then I mean, my mind started racing, man. Like,
yeah.
what if my child is out here, and they just mistaking this cat for something? He might say the wrong word.
Yeah,
How am I going to teach him in,
yeah.
not teach him the wrong thing, but what is
Right.
the wrong thing?
Right,
You know what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
only, am I leading by example?
right.
All these different things, and then, can I provide for the family? Is my art enough to provide
Right.
for, in the lifestyle that I see that I want to provide for my family? Is it enough?
Right.
And so I had a super tough time with it.
Yeah.
And, particularly on this project, it's almost like when I set out something to this magnitude, it was like, yo, there's no way I can, and one, because I tried to have a pretty consistent catalog of work all across the board, which, very high level, made with love, that whole situation.
But real quick, so just for the people who don't know, how many albums have you made in total?
Like, just in general,
Yeah, in general.
remixes and all.
Sure. Not songs, albums, like
Oh,
full projects.
full length, maybe about 5 or 6.
Full length projects?
Yeah, so like not on physicals, just the full length is just my 2.
But
But
what
I
about,
have-
I'm talking about remixes, all that shit.
Oh, dude, it's like in the 40s or 50s. or
Right.
something.
So you ain't somebody who just woke up and said, I want to do this. You've been
No.
doing this over a span of a long time. And you
Yeah.
still get in those spaces, and
Yeah.
what I'm trying to get to.
Yeah,
So go ahead.
yeah. It's still the same thing, but
Yeah.
it's like, yo, I have to finish this. There's no I cannot finish this. I'll be mad at myself for not facilitating that obstacle. You know what I mean?
What was the switch though? Like you don't strike me as somebody that ever. You don't strike me as somebody that's just gonna give up on something anyway.
Right.
So like the idea.
I think Andrew, my kid played a big part in that. 'Cause it's like, man, I definitely can't stop now. And there's been times I wanted to, we all go through not
Yeah.
wanting to continue this, whatever your dream is, bro.
Yeah.
Because you got to make ends meet. But it's like,
Yeah.
okay, if I do that, he gonna see that, and then that just sets him up for not wanting to encourage him to keep going. And
Right.
and my representation was my father.
Yeah.
My
Right.
father was like that. He's been doing, the discipline of some mortician.
Yeah.
35 years, I've seen him struggle all through that process. He kept going and going and going. Now he's set,
Yeah.
but he made in his mind, this is what he's gonna do. He figured it out. He got with a partner that figured it out. They worked together and it was off to the races.
Yeah. And that's deep, man, because I don't know if there's anything further from what you do as a creative than what he does, but it's the same level of
Yeah.
discipline, the same,
Yeah.
almost the same path and journey to it, like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
falling,
Yeah.
And there's an art to
figure it
that
out.
mortician shit, right?
My father's essentially he's an artist.
Yeah.
I have seen him perform some miracles. I'm not gonna get too graphic with it, but it's just, I've seen it happen with my own 2 eyes. You know what I mean? And there's so many different ways that he goes about approaching to do that work. And again, just me seeing that as a kid, I sat there at 5 years old and watched him do this. This before he had his own funeral home and everything.
Right.
When I would come and visit, he would see me on the side of the in the room where they prepare the bodies or whatever, and I would sit there and watch him do this for like about, I think he was an apprentice, so we do about 5 funeral homes, and I would sit there and watch that.
Yeah.
I was like, yo, that's amazing. I wasn't bugged out by it, but
Right.
it just was like, yo, this is what he does.
Right. Right.
You know, later come to find out, you know, my pops was that he dropped out of high school, and he could have gave you that whole excuse of that reason or whatever you want to say it is. He could have gave that. He was like, nah.
What's your
That's crazy, bro.
what was your father's thoughts about you wanting to do music?
He wanted me to be a mortician. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Because it's there. He built this, but
So what did he say? Don't do music?
he didn't say don't, but he wasn't really behind it.
He wasn't supportive.
Not in the beginning. Because he just see me, he didn't see me put the full effort and really turn it on. Like,
Were you putting the full effort in?
No, I was, but no.
Were you successful? I mean, did you find a level of success in it?
Later I did.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was pushback because, like, dog, quite naturally, when your parent has that type of business and that type of level of success, you want to follow in that footsteps.
Yeah.
It was never about money with me. It was
Yeah.
like, no, I have this thing I want to do.
Yeah.
I have to figure it out and I have to get there.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's what I define as the success to me.
Yeah.
You know, I got to do what I set out when I made this promise to myself at 17. I said I want to make music for the world.
Yeah.
I've done that.
Right.
In
For
the
sure.
capacity that I felt, I've traveled the world with it, with my art. When I was on the other side of the world in 2014 in Australia, I'm like, yo, I just did what I said I was going to do.
Right.
It took me X amount of years to get there, but I got there.
Yeah.
You know, and I have some other different things that I'm going to keep to myself until I get there. And it's just things that I check off that I have to, that I'm going to strive to get to. You know?
And the reason why I asked about the pop, because those, at any point in time through this thing called life, bro, there will be an excuse to not do it.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
It's going to be legitimate as a motherfucker.
Yeah.
We'll be able to tell that story to ourselves in a way that will make all the sense in the world.
Sure.
But there's no better fucking excuse or reason in the world to say, I'm going to go be a mortician because my dad done set this shit up. Now I can just go on autopilot and smooth sail.
Right.
You know how many motherfuckers would want to do that, bro?
Right.
Yeah.
I know.
But guess what?
Yeah.
You was like, fuck that.
Yeah.
And even when I'm hearing you talk about the 12 stories piece,
12 literary arts.
12 stories.
Shout out to Phil Story. Shout out to the club.
Shout out to the club.
Shout out. That's
Shout out to the bottle service.
Involuntary promo right there, man.
Had a good time Friday, 12 Story. What's up?
Wow.
So, 12 stories.
Wow, that's great.
12 literary arts.
Yeah.
Because you don't make excuses, bro.
Yeah.
You manage them.
Right.
In terms
Oh,
of
that's
how
deep.
I see you.
That's
Yeah.
deep. Break that down though,
Break it down though.
because that was heavy.
That was all right.
What's the difference between making them and managing them?
We create these situations because we resist them in a lot of ways. And I think most of them come up in our relationships with like our significant others. And we might overcommit to certain things in professional and personal life that might make us uncomfortable, but because we're the men that we are, we actually go through with them.
Right.
And so you're not gonna not do something. You might have a whole conversation
Yeah.
as to why you could do it, the
Right.
challenges you experience
Right.
by choosing that path over the other.
Right.
But you wasn't gonna back out of 12.
Yeah.
You wasn't gonna back out of motherfucking doing this music shit.
Yeah.
But you'll be connected to the process of making that
Yeah.
commitment, and you'll see where shit can go left or right, and why you still choose to take that path to finish it, whatever it might be. And some of this shit that you and I talk about, especially when it comes to these excuses, are in our personal relationships with our women.
Yeah.
And that is, and that's how I know you're not a quitter. And it's not about how we manage these motherfucking excuses that we come up with, man, because you have a desire, I feel, to want to be better and do better.
Yeah.
And
see other people do better.
And see other people do better.
I want
right.
to see. I want to see the homies.
Yeah.
You know, it ain't no fun if the homies can't have none.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Pause.
Yeah. Yeah. You talking about a different none, though.
None,
right?
none, though, right?
Yeah,
right.
that's different. None.
But you see what I'm saying? Like, no, it's just like, yo, I'm trying to make this trajectory of going up. I want to see the other folks, you know.
Yeah.
But you got to do better too.
But that's the thing.
But
you got to keep going, and you got to keep doing the same thing.
Yeah, yeah. And here's the thing, dog. And this always comes back to this. This is why I love this podcast, man. Shout out to Tuna Fork, man. We doing big things. It always comes down to the process, dog. It's gonna be days. It's gonna be moments in those days where you're gonna not wanna go any further. You're gonna hit a wall. You're gonna hit whatever, and you're gonna try to figure out every excuse why you can't move forward with whatever it is in those moments.
Yeah.
And then, like, we push through those moments, right? And not listen to the excuses, not listen to the voices that saying you can't, not listen to the doubt that creeps up in our heads and our existence, dog. And there are moments like one day is a good day because everything's cooking on all cylinders. You know what I'm saying? Everything is happening.
Right.
But then the next day you hit something, you be like, man, fuck, I don't even want to do this no more, right?
Yeah.
But that shit that exists deep down in you, dog, where you gotta pull that out in those moments and say, I'm not worried about a month from now, 6 months from now. Today, I just want to get through this today.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get up today. I'm going to make my bed, dog. I'm going to do what I need to do and power through. Tomorrow's going to be, tomorrow take care of itself.
Yeah.
Right? And those moments extend to larger moments and greater moments. And they just create these times, this stretch of time where you don't stop.
Yeah.
But it boils down to those moments, though.
But
sometimes, and sometimes you gotta step back, but that don't mean you stopping. It just means you stepping back and saying, okay, let me change how I'm moving around. Let me, you know what I'm saying? That's not a failure. That's just kind of taking a step.
And on a tape player, the pause button ain't the same as the motherfucking stop button. It's a totally different button.
Exactly.
Pause is a different process than stop.
That's right.
So sometimes what we actually doing is pausing, but sometimes it feels like a stop.
Yeah.
But we actually just pause.
And we beat ourselves up over that pause. But sometimes you got to pause, and you can. Tomorrow's another day. Tomorrow's a new day, dog, where you can start over, or you can unpause and keep pushing.
the only thing I have a problem with is I don't live in the moment because I'm always trying. I strive to finish pretty much everything, but then you have this thing of when you do, what's next? You're not even relishing in the moment that you just created, and once you went through the path, at least soak in it. And I'm trying to do better in that capacity to be able to enjoy those moments. Because I'm always like, yo, what's the next thing we can do? You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I see that, dog. Because even when we try to, we have conversations about you, how incredibly talented you are, and how we say you don't know how talented you are. Because soaking that in, the level what you just created, dog, is something, man. Because when I soak in what you create, I'm like, this shit is fucking amazing. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'd soak it in, but I don't know if you soak it in the same way.
I mean, because it's just about just trying to get better. It's just trying to get better. So all of them tools I learned in this particular joint, I want to take these to the next one. And you know what I mean? But again, it's just, enjoying the process and soaking it again.
The process,
And one of the things I noticed in even working with you on music is that there's so many of those moments while you make it that by the time it's over, it's like over. It's like, I feel like it might be kind of like how when somebody makes a movie, and you spend all of this time in 2016 doing a movie, and you got all these dope moments, you connecting with the cast and all of that, and then it actually comes out in 2019, and you on the project number 4, but everybody at that moment is actually experiencing the movie that you did 3 years ago.
Right.
Because there are times, like when you're in it, and you making them songs and you playing them chords for the first time, or you come up with that idea, like that is the magic. And then you're experiencing that, I feel, or at least even, let me speak for myself. I am through the process while it's being created. That it's like the one song that I have you play each and every motherfucking time I'm there.
Still in Love?
No, the Why You joint.
Still in Love.
Oh, is that what the name of it is?
Yeah, Still in Love.
Yeah. So, dude,
Yeah.
by the time that mug come out, you will have heard it 400 million times.
He right. He right.
Yeah.
But you moved on to something else because the relationship to making music in that way requires so much focus and attention at a specific moment while it's being created that by the time it gets to us, it's a whole...
Yeah, your relationship to it is different.
It's a different, like a time, the time scale is off in a way.
Yeah.
But when you making that shit,
you know what I mean, it's nothing like, it's a high that you try to chase all the time.
And it's in the like, that's deep, man. So it's in the creation of it. Is the art for you, not necessarily the finish. Like the painting is not it. It is in the colors.
It's in the coloring. I mean,
that's heavy.
I was sitting there watching, you know, the good homie Buck. I got a chance to go to his crib today for the first time.
What up, Buck?
Never seen his
never
joint.
Been to his?
Never been there, and I was mad at myself for not going over there while I was here.
That's crazy.
For 3 years.
Yeah.
But just to sit here and watching him, and I was just sitting there just looking at the cat. You know, I'm seeing how he moving and stuff. I'm like, his process is different from mine, but it's fascinating to me. I wish I'd have had more time to really sit there with him.
Yeah.
You know, hit a L with him, whatever like that. You know what I'm saying? But we just sitting there, we just vibing. You know what I mean? Because I want to see how he get down though. You know what I mean? Mine is a little different because James has been a part of mine. Mine is like, we'll put something on, and we'll have a conversation. I might start pacing, and then I kind of sit down and then.
You said pacing.
Pacing. I just
pacing.
walk.
Okay.
I just start walking.
Right.
You know, we start talking about something, and next thing you know, I don't know what the hell just happened. Maybe about an hour or two later.
Right. You know what's crazy, man? I used to work for a children's theater, dog, and down on 14th and T.
Yeah.
And they work with inner city kids from like these elementary schools in the inner city. And what they did was they created these plays, and it's a point. They created these plays, but they only created them halfway. So then they would have the class of kids finish the play. So they would write it, they would do the costumes, they would do the music and the songs and all that, right? And so we had to take notes. It was like 5 or 6 kids per. We had to take notes on how the kids interacted with completing that task, right?
Yeah.
Some of them would get right into it. They sit right down and they write it all out. Some of them would pace. Some of them would move around because it was like a jungle gym in there. There was all kinds of shit to play with.
Yeah.
Some of them would play with stuff and pace around and move around, right? And we would take notes on them. And the amazing thing was, dog, discovering that the kids that did the pacing and the move around were just as part of the creative process as the kids that sat still and did it. Yeah. Because the concept, the notion before was that kids needed to sit still and focus on the task, but not realizing that some kids learn, and they call it kinetic learning.
Is that what that is?
Or kinetic creation. Like, they learn and create through moving. Right?
Wow.
So if somebody, like if your son, if that's his trait, and somebody said, Andrew, sit down and do your work. Right? They would strip him of his process
of how he
creates.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
That's crazy.
Even as a parent, now that you know that's how your child creates,
moves, you gotta let him go.
You gotta let him do his thing. Right?
Yeah.
But conceptually, that's why a lot of kids are fidgety. A lot of kids are unsuccessful in elementary school, and they find that black kids tend to do it more, but they are unsuccessful or quit on school because they can't quite get or can't quite move, be successful, because the structure of it is not in their learning style.
They're trying to be forced to process information in a way that's not suited for them. They can't.
Right. So these kids were creating songs. They were it would be a musician in there, he'll just play chords, and kids would kind of sing and make up words. And the kids that were moving around were singing and making up words. But they were just doing it while they were walking around. It was a free open space.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
So I don't know, but that's crazy.
Because I have to move
Yes.
Yeah.
in a similar way.
A lot of us do. A lot of us do, dog.
I can't just sit still.
Right.
No.
A lot of us do.
That's the way I have to process information. It's like before I give it, when the pandemic hit and I would do my iPhone, my Apple Watch,
Yeah.
I was doing like 5 or 6 miles in my house.
Son,
In your house?
that's what I do.
That's crazy.
I'm like 20,000 in the crib, bro.
Five or 6 miles in the crib,
Yeah.
walking around.
Yeah.
Creating, like being.
I
Thinking.
can't think sitting still.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's that island that I got, I will
Yeah.
walk around that motherfucker for 5 miles.
But think about
you in
how
jail.
contrary that is to how educational systems are set up.
Right.
And if you can't
Yeah.
process, then you're
Yeah.
8 and you can't understand
Yeah.
why you can't process,
Yeah.
then you shut down and you
Yeah,
start acting like an
completely.
asshole because you
Montessori
can't process.
school is
Right.
what that needs to be.
Exactly.
I feel
And
like that's for everything.
Well,
Some aspects.
there's an understanding, dog, that some kids learn different.
Yeah.
But what the educational system is, and shout out to all the teachers, because shit is hard.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
yes.
saying? Being a teacher is hard. I'm definitely not
DJ
coming
Cleveland
down.
Brown,
Right.
one of the
Shout out to-
finest.
yeah, that's right. But understanding how kids learn differently
Yeah.
is part of it, and that's hard because you don't know. Like, there's no notes on each kid and how they learn.
And there's no, and I feel like the structure doesn't even put teachers in a position to
Exactly.
accommodate the different. So even if the teacher, because I would venture to say every teacher knows how their kids learn.
Right.
Whether you got 10 or 15 in there,
Yeah.
they know the ones that need a little bit more help.
Yeah.
They know the
15,
ones
15, 25, 30.
they know.
Yeah.
They know how and which ones are this way. But if they're being forced
Yeah.
to teach in a specific way
Right.
that doesn't address the needs. Like
Yeah.
if you got to teach to the middle,
Yeah.
because you might even be slowing down for people who need to be picking up,
Yeah.
which is just as a disservice
Yep.
to those children
Yep.
as the ones
Yeah.
who need a little bit more time.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're the same kid. It doesn't make you less smart because you need more time than a kid
Yeah,
who gets it fast.
you just
That's
need time.
Right. Exactly.
Or a different type of attention,
Right,
I
right.
should say.
Right. Right.
Right.
Right. And then again, dog, a lot of kids are missing, like they don't understand their process. So their process is shut down and rots and dies on a vine before it even becomes their process.
Mhm.
Right? Which is unfortunate.
Is it a way to tie the excuses into that the kids that learn differently?
Absolutely.
It's a whole, or reasons. That could be a reason why the kid is not doing such and such because the way how he learns.
Right. And a lot of times he don't even know. Like shit, there's some adults that don't know that.
Yeah.
Right? There's some
Yeah.
adults that try to fit into this,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, sit still, focus, discipline thing.
And that's not
they,
that's not it.
And they think that the fact that they're moving around is about their discipline and not about the fact that that's just how they learn.
Yeah.
That's just how they're
Yeah.
wired.
Yeah. That's crazy.
That's wild.
When do you find yourself trying to make the most excuses?
When do I find myself not
Trying to.
trying to? Wow. Probably in my relationship. I can make, because you're trying to see things from another person's point of view. But then you stuck in your way. It's like, damn it, you ain't listening. But it has to come. You have to come to a somewhat of a crossroads and an agreement, a compromise that goes along with that to having a successful, at least a relationship that I want.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And you can make all types of stuff of why you was an asshole that day, but then you didn't even talk about the stuff you had from 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks. You ain't, and that's how
10 years ago.
10 years, whatever. And so I think for me, that probably would be that. For my art, I don't make any excuses. If I don't get to a certain place, it's because I haven't done something,
Yeah.
Or I haven't went through the steps,
Do you see? Have you ever tried looking at your relationship like a song?
No, I compartmentalize that. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that. This is this.
Yeah. Well, in a creation, dog, it's kind of like, I don't know how you see it, but you have, for me, when I'm like creative in the creative spaces, It's like you're trying to find something that's there, and it's your personal journey to get to that thing.
Yeah.
So you're moving stuff around and,
Yeah.
and trying to, put
Yeah.
things together to try to find that thing.
Yeah.
Or you're putting these things together and it's forming this thing.
Yes.
But when you're dealing with someone else, you can't quite form them into that
You
thing.
can't do that.
You know what I'm saying?
It can't happen.
It's an
buddy.
exchange.
Yeah.
And that's the tough part.
Yeah.
So-
that's the compromise in that.
Right.
I would
And then
think.
you're dealing with the shit that you had from when you was 8. The fact that they made you sit still, you couldn't pace around.
That-
You know,
that's
and
that's
a level
fair.
of frustration that
That's
you deal
fair.
with, that you bring into
Damn.
your shit now.
Yeah, that's in the
But-
words of life, that's clean.
That's clean.
But that's
clean.
also an excuse.
But it's the truth though.
But it's an excuse.
But here's the thing. To me, an excuse, dog, is when you know differently, but then you try to make a reason why you're doing something.
That's
lot of
an
times You don't
excuse.
even know,
You just said you bringing some stuff back
but you don't know
from
that.
you.
Though.
But you, so when you 44 years old, you know that the way that you did it was the wrong way, but you still did it anyway, and you still don't want to admit that you're wrong.
Sometimes.
What-
Sometimes.
So now, mind you,
Sometimes.
this ain't math, but this is logic.
It's dog.
So-
It's people 55 that don't know why
So,
they operate like that.
I'm talking about you, me, and this nigga
Oh,
over
see,
here.
that's different.
Because
Yeah.
again, we can't
That's
talk
different.
about everybody
No.
else.
But we can,
But
though.
look,
We
no,
should.
no,
We should broaden
but-
it into.
But no, it's
Nah.
cleaner to talk about us.
Yeah.
I guess.
We know
Yeah.
when we making excuses.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, so
Yeah.
this is what keeps the conversation clean.
Yeah.
What do you
Is
mean?
this is what keeps it clean? Because we can sit back here and be like, oh, we know, and no. Life, James, and Terrell know when we be doing shit we shouldn't be doing in these relationships. We know when it's some shit that's unresolved that we bringing forth, that's showing up. We might not know real time. We might not know exactly at that moment when we reacting in that way,
Yeah.
or we might know and be like, fuck it, I still want to respond in that way. That's why y'all laughing, because y'all know I'm telling the
It's
truth.
the truth. It's I can't.
We
I can't-
know we about to hit this wall, and we put our foot on the
Yes,
gas,
before.
and we know we about to hit the wall. Lie to me and say that ain't clean.
No, that's
so listen.
I don't know if I subscribe to that.
Yeah,
though.
yep.
But I
Okay.
hear you, bro.
Yeah,
We see the wall.
You see it.
We hit the nitrous. We fast and furious to that motherfucking
Man,
wall.
listen here.
We know. Now listen, we ain't got to go specifics into our. We ain't got to go specifics into our
Yeah,
situation,
yeah.
but we know that that's how. So now, so when you said we know, because this is the excuse, I can't let you say that we don't know. We know. We might not know specifically what, but we know that what we doing isn't the right way when we have hindsight.
What are you doing
we-
and what are you not doing?
Well,
What are you doing
you're
when
saying in hindsight or you're saying in real time?
So most times, so here's the thing. This is where the closer we get to recognizing our shit in real time is what I feel the growth is. Because you got this space.
Right.
When you start losing, so here's what let's say something happens right here and you say, fuck you, bitch. Right? Let's say
Clean. That's clean.
let's say here's moment A.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, right here could be that was wrong.
That was.
And that's
Now,
after.
now this could be 2 weeks.
Later.
Yeah.
Later.
Later.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
It could be 30 seconds.
Right. 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 He said,
The more you shorten that
Showing the
fucking
distance of trying to cut.
of fuck you, bitch.
To figure.
And get to a point because there's some times where it's like, okay, that ain't necessary. Because the closer, when you make the gap smaller, you don't even need to say fuck you, bitch.
but that's what I'm saying. So you're saying the goal is to make the gap smaller or to
The gap
not-
smaller. The gap smaller.
The
Not
gap
to be able-
gets so
But
because
flip it so that when you feel when something happens to make
Make
you
it-
feel like you want to say that,
Make-
you don't say that.
Yes.
making the gap
Yes.
smaller eliminates the first
Yes.
step.
Yes.
Okay.
So
That's
you make the
real.
gap smaller to where it
Yes.
doesn't even exist anymore.
So you
Okay.
don't even get to the point to say fuck you.
Yeah,
bitch.
because real time, close to real time is while you're doing it, you know
Yeah.
you're doing it,
Yeah.
but you don't give a shit.
But
We
see,
doing shit that we
Yeah.
know we shouldn't
Yeah.
do, but
Yeah.
don't care.
But,
Yeah.
but there is something that happens before that though that
Yep.
brings up that feeling that then translates to
Jesus,
your
say
brain
fuck.
that send that out your mouth. There's something that happens before that.
Because here's
so
what-
that's the thing you need to get closer to.
So yeah, but
Right.
because some of us won't say "fuck you, bitch" out loud or say it with our actions.
You do something
and this
crazy.
passive aggressive shit.
That's true.
And
this
which
is-
is even worse.
Which is worse.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so we won't say
I.e.
it.
me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what
yeah.
we got to do,
Yeah.
and then we'll make excuses
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
for why we ain't saying nothing.
Right.
Right.
And this is what that GNP, grown niggas pouting.
Yeah.
This is what a grown nigga pouting looks like. Wanting to say something and not saying it.
Yeah.
Being short, being all of this,
As
not
opposed-
being in
yeah.
tune and connected.
Because all that shit is not you not wanting to think about what you want to say that is irking the fuck
Or
out of you.
that you don't want to, like, there's a whole other thing involved in you saying it.
Yeah.
Even if you don't use those words, even if you
Right.
say how you're feeling,
Yeah.
there's a whole other something that you got to deal with after that. So
Yeah.
instead of dealing with that and really getting to the root of what it is, you walk around pouting.
But guess what that is?
That's another
An
excuse.
excuse. See, but these are how we manage these things. What helps I feel people help us manage the excuses is our commitments to these women, to these things. Because you gotta solve the problem. We're not gonna live unhealthy.
We can.
You've
but we
done
shouldn't.
that before.
But no,
Right.
we're
You've
not.
done it, but we're
We've
not
done
going to
it
do it again.
before,
You've
but
done it
we're
before. You're
not gonna do it again.
anymore.
Right. Facts.
So
Yeah.
the commitment forces you to find a way out.
Yeah.
But do you think that, dog, and I get what you're saying, and that's clean. But it seems to me, dog, that the commitment piece should be to yourself and making yourself healthy. And then that self can interact with everything around you, all your relationships differently. You view them and you look at them and you operate within them differently when you got a different relationship with yourself. Because you can walk around grown nigga pouting all for yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But that's an excuse.
Right, but I'm saying, but once you change that dynamic within yourself, then it changes the dynamic of how you deal with things. outside of yourself.
So you say that a lot, right? What does because you do. Because here's the thing though.
Okay.
Tell me what that looks like.
Okay, I'll give you an example. Let me think about it. I'm gonna use your example. So, whatever triggers you to say "fuck you, bitch," right? There's something that happened. There's something that they did, said, or whatever that made you feel that way.
Yep.
Whatever that is, you need to examine.
You
what
need to examine that
is
in you.
and why
Okay.
you felt that way.
Because
Okay.
So now
you have
when
a choice to not say that.
when that happens, now your relationship to it is different. So now you don't have to immediately get into the emotion of fuck you.
How long does it take to get there?
I don't fucking know.
Is it instant?
What do you mean?
Is it instant when you do that?
What do you mean? Like if once I do the work and then something happens again and it triggers that?
Is it instant? So
No. It's a moment that you feel the way you used to feel, but then there's an intervention of yourself saying, "Wait a minute.
I can't be around him doing that.
So let me get my shit together before I say something that I don't want to say. Let me process this."
But bro,
and
that's
really
a
feel
perfect
okay.
world scenario.
No, it's not. That is a how you function scenario.
So your scenario is not factoring an extremely huge part of the
What?
dynamic.
What?
This crazy ass woman looking across from you talking mad shit.
Dog. It
Hold
does.
on.
Yeah.
It don't no,
It does.
because even if you're saying like would you tell me what you're saying? Let me go figure out why I'm
I'm
feeling
not
this
saying
way.
that. I'm
No,
saying
you're saying it to yourself, right?
Right. Right.
And as you're saying that,
She lighting your ass.
she lighting your ass up.
She lighting
now,
your
no,
ass
hold
up.
on.
That's
so,
clean.
but you're saying like you're just gonna sit there and it'll start magically delicious, some
I didn't
fucking
say that.
Lucky
I didn't-
Charm shit.
I
No,
didn't say it's easy.
bro.
I didn't say it's something, but it's a process, bro.
So I'm talking
And the beauty
about,
is in the growth.
but I'm talking about the process.
Right.
It's always gonna have to come back to yourself. So the
Right.
part of the analysis is ownership. But this is the reason why I'm
Yes,
saying
all of it is.
when I say it, you always say relationship with yourself. I'm always talking about yourself.
But you need to say that because you're the only one that thinks that.
No, so
when you're speaking to all the internet, they need to understand that too.
All of the internets.
okay.
That's all I'm saying.
So yeah. Okay. So it's always an individual thing.
Yes.
And
all the time.
understanding that because you're not going to, this goes back to the thing.
Yeah.
We know what we need to do.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm talking about us three. Fuck
Yes.
the internet for this brief moment in time. Right? Right?
Internet. Fuck y'all internet.
What you just said, do you do?
Absolutely
Say
not.
yeah. Okay. I was gonna say
But you know
yeah.
what? Now,
But hold
let
on.
me change that.
Go ahead.
In extreme cases, like you just said, absolutely not. But I've found that
See,
since
you
we
hear what
started,
he just said? Excuse in extreme
No, no, no.
cases. Either you do it or you don't.
I do. But my point is this. I found that since we've been doing this podcast, since we've been having these conversations, there are times where I've been like, okay, let me fall back.
Okay.
Let
So-
me step back and not say fuck you bitch. Like I want to, like I normally would.
Now, mind you, when I'm saying fuck you, bitch, and I want to be clear, by the way. Thank you for highlighting that. I have never called a woman a bitch in my life. And I said this to him before, and he don't believe me.
I don't.
Reason why is because he says it so often.
Wow.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Let me make sure.
He really
I've never called a woman a bitch, ever. So I'm just, look at that. They uncomfortable. My bad.
I didn't
No, I'm uncomfortable because you ain't keeping it 100.
Listen, what am I lied to? So
The world.
I got all this other shit I'm telling the truth about. I'm like, I ain't never lit a bitch up. just ain't been my default. I ain't saying I've been right, but this is the part that keeps it clean though.
Right.
Because even though we're saying this is what we should do, because even when you're saying that, well, we got to do it to yourself, it helps tell a better, more accurate story.
Right. Yeah.
When we say, even though we sitting there talking about this goofy shit, we still struggling with it.
Yes.
Right.
We still know, we still got that space
space.
between
Yes.
how we're triggered, so that's
Yes.
probably a better word to use.
Yes.
Triggered.
When we're
Perfect.
triggered
Yes.
versus when we address it and are able to move
Yeah.
through it.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
the more we shorten that distance,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
that's a process
Yes.
that starts with the
Yeah.
individual looking at what is being triggered within them.
Yes. Absolutely. That's all I was saying. Though.
So, but even though we're doing that, we're still managing these excuses
yes.
Yeah.
throughout the whole goddamn process.
Yes. Yeah.
Because a part of it too is, if you catch me on this day, when I've been struggling,
Right.
working hard,
Right.
doing all of this other shit,
Right.
frustrated in these other motherfucking ways,
That's
and
right.
I come to the crib
Yeah.
And you out of here.
and you hit me
Yeah.
with the wrong
Yeah.
heat,
Energy. Right. Right. It's
I
coming.
might respond in a certain way.
Right.
And I might know in real time, in
Yeah.
close to real time,
Yeah.
that I'm not doing the right thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing too, they extend in us. They also understand the same thing we're saying, the woman is saying
Yeah.
on the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And owning that is part of it too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Owning that is a big part of it. Owning being able to say, look, man, I mean, my bad. I came in here a little hot.
But you know what? Guess
Oh,
what?
man.
Guess what we want though? We want the woman to
Woman
apologize.
apologize to
And if
us.
you don't
that's-
apologize, I ain't
Yeah.
gonna apologize to you.
Yeah,
Like how the
yeah.
fucking silly is that?
Pouting. Then we
It's like,
sit around
so
pouting.
you be like, I'm gonna need you to apologize. Cause I came in here and I've been doing the best that I can do, and then the shit just, yeah, and then I've been doing this, and you ain't acknowledging how I'm doing this, and you ain't acknowledging how I'm doing this. You got to start seeing for how I'm showing up, and da 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 da. I did this the other day, 2 weeks ago, da da da. Next thing you know, you going back to 1986 about some shit that you did. Remember when I bought you that motherfucking tennis bracelet? Niggas, when niggas used to buy chicks tennis bracelets?
Turkish links.
Yeah, all of that kind of shit. You talking about when you bought a motherfucking Elise jacket.
Elise. With the tennis skirt with it.
So,
and the footies.
Sometimes it's us, because a part of the excuse of managing excuses is understanding and taking responsibility for the role that we play in those kinds of moments.
And that's all we can take responsibility.
That's it. And making a motherfucker apologize
ain't gonna happen.
Ain't even a genuine. It's like motherfuckers used to try to ask Trump, well, when is Trump gonna apologize? How we gonna make? How you gonna make a motherfucker apologize?
Right.
He get to show up like that.
Right.
Ain't got nothing to do with you.
Right.
So
yeah, that's clean. That's all clean.
So it's gonna be hard for us to have a conversation about excuses if we're not managing the excuses that we haven't in the conversation about excuses.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. See, yeah. I mean, I try to look to the better, but yeah.
Because we're gonna look wild making excuses while we talking about excuses.
Make excuses about making excuses. That's clean. That's clean.
Because I know the personal conversations that we have, bro.
But see, you think that trigger is with everything, not just in relationships? Like, there is a trigger that makes you not do something or half-ass through something or whatever, and then you make excuses about it. You think there's a trigger for that, or you think that it's really only in sort of these interpersonal relationships?
The reasons why I think they show up the most in our personal relationships is because they are the ones that is challenging us the most in the most sensitive ways.
True.
As dudes. We got a fucking framework that we love operating in.
Yeah.
And it feels good. And even in the parts of it that don't feel good, we're used to managing that.
Yeah.
We go and connect to these motherfucking women, dog, that tap and touch all of the most sensitive parts of a motherfucker. And in them doing that, they're actually causing us to expand, and some of that shit is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So we make excuses for when we don't expand.
We trying to stay right here.
Because we trying to stay right here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, this is my framework, this is my box, bitch. This is my box. And they like, nah, but I need it, And we be like, nah, this motherfucker is 4x4 squared. Leave me alone, it's all I got. And they like, nah, you got more, you got more. And we make excuses for that portion of it. Now this could be like, because they see parts of us that we don't see.
Yeah.
And we don't know that they see.
Yeah.
And when you with the right motherfucker, bro,
Yeah.
they gonna be the ones who gonna hit them shits the hardest.
That's clean.
That's right.
That's clean.
Because
They challenge you the most.
They gonna challenge you. They gonna challenge you the most. And that's how some of this shit when we look at, I was talking to Zendo earlier, and I told her, if we looked at pain like a phone call, if we looked at discomfort similar to a phone call, so when your phone rings and you see that motherfucker and you look and see who it is, you at least go look to see who it is.
Right.
When you get triggered some way, shape, or form inside of you, if you at least looked,
Right.
as opposed to ignoring the cause,
Right.
we walking around with 50,243 missed calls of some shit.
Yeah.
That where the universe is actually tapping on a motherfucker's shoulder to say, hey, look, man, this greater you is here.
Yeah.
What's going on? I want to introduce you to him. And you like, nah. I want to fit in my motherfucking box.
Yeah.
I want to do what the fuck I want to do. I want to be challenged in the ways that I want to be challenged. Like the universe ain't smarter than us and shit. Like we gonna like all the ways in which we gonna be challenged, we aware of.
So
And we
what,
got to
being
figure it out.
Complacency?
I think it's more dangerous than complacency, dog. It is like, it's a arrogance to it. Like, we got to figure it out so much that we don't need to make any adjustments to who we are and how we move around. Right? And there's a fear involved in there too. But I guess that's complacency too.
Because you comfortable being
Kind of
where
just sit in it. Right.
You just sitting there as opposed to, like, nigga, you know you need to apologize in this moment.
Yeah. At least acknowledge.
Acknowledge it.
Right.
Yeah. But you know what, man? And this is a part of it. This is why I said we don't make them, we manage them. Because we got to give ourselves grace, bro.
Yep.
Yeah.
What we're being asked to do, and I can't leave the women out of it either. Because we like to make excuses in our minds as men that, oh, this is just what women supposed to do. This is just how they supposed. Nah, man, shit. They giving up a lot of motherfucking shit. They making concessions in a lot of ways for themselves, because if you playing the game right, you challenging them just as much as they're challenging you.
Yeah.
And so, and if it's done right, then y'all both are gonna be growing together, because that's how you actually motherfucking grow.
Right.
Yeah.
That's how you grow.
Yeah.
With each other.
Yeah.
But we can't beat ourselves up if we
Yeah.
not getting it right fast enough.
Yeah.
Right.
Because as long, I actually measure the time it takes for me to do certain shit and to get over certain shit. Because that's how I'm measuring it for me. And I find myself, if somebody say some shit, I was having a conversation earlier this morning with some shit. And I said, I was about to focus on the words. What are you really trying to say? Because I caught myself listening to these goddamn words she was saying.
He wasn't about to go there, but
I caught myself listening to the words. Because
Right.
I know how I'm.
you process.
The shit is starting to snowball.
Snowball,
You
yeah.
say shit, and now I've constructed this whole
Whole
scenario
I
that
do
might
that so many times.
Yeah.
tell me what you help me understand.
Right. Right.
Because I'm trying to make the space shorter.
Right.
Because before I would have let her say it, I wouldn't ask her to elaborate. I wouldn't ask her to try to say it in another way. I would just immediately focus on the words,
Right.
and I would let that shit fester and then get deeper and then get bigger and then infiltrate and get in all these other bullshit parts of me, and then walk around G and P for 3, 4, 5, 6 days, a week, 2 weeks, and not addressing it, just making excuses for why I'm not trying to motherfucking acknowledge it.
Right. Right. Right.
So if maybe we, in our situations, start understanding these triggers, and then finding out, and then tracking how much we actually shorten the time,
Yeah.
and then the things that we do
Yeah.
to contribute to shortening the time,
Right.
maybe getting more, maybe asking them to say it in a different way,
Yeah.
ask them to elaborate,
Right.
not fucking hold on to the first thing that come out of their mouth. Cause for me, I'm trying to see if I can say, it's too personal for me to say what the conversation was earlier.
Right.
But it was so like if somebody says, I need you to do more, as an example.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do we do with that?
Yeah.
Especially like in your situation when, y'all doing some baby shit, like he got old babies pretty much now and shit.
Yeah.
So what would generally happen with that statement, and how would that go, and what kind of places would you go individually, and how would that end up showing up in your reaction to that?
You got to do more, but not really saying what the more is.
Would you ask to, would you,
I would
Let me ask
have
you
I
that.
would have to have a description of what that means and what that looks like.
Man, I'm immediately coming off the rails.
Are you?
Dog.
Are you for real?
I came off the rails, even him saying it. I was like, what? Like,
I'm gonna need you to do more, but you gotta really
Dog.
listen to what that means.
I'm not
and
listening
then you
to
got,
shit.
but
See,
you
see?
got, I understand. I
ahead,
get
man.
it, but you
Go
gotta
ahead.
really.
That's
but
a
you
trigger.
You gotta listen to it, and then assess, like, have you really been given what you say? What she's saying, what you ain't doing, and you have to really calculate what that really looks like.
so here's the thing though. This is this nigga's trigger.
I'm
Oh,
coming
So
off
so
right.
rails.
it's when you get triggered.
Yeah.
We're great at it
Yeah.
when it
yeah.
ain't triggers.
Yeah, that's
Right.
right.
You know how you were just like, well, let me dig a little deeper. Like, this nigga ain't digging. You hit the mine
Yeah.
just by even mentioning
Right.
it. So
Yeah, that's
it's
real.
World War III. We all got these triggers.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So yours might not necessarily be that, but I think what do we do when we get these? How are we managing the triggers
Yeah.
and not using excuses to go off the rails and be non-productive?
Yeah.
Because that really is a big motherfucking skill to acquire
It is.
in these relationships.
It is.
Dog, I'm like,
You're zero tolerance, it sounds like.
no. I mean, it's just like you said, dog. There's certain things that are triggers for me.
In this is in any relationship.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I try to mitigate that in not saying the first thing that comes to my head, and really processing it and understanding that this is a trigger. So I need to, whatever I'm feeling, whatever heat coming, I need to let it wash through, and then I can get into, well, what do they really mean?
So here's my thing for you, Mr. Look within the self, right? Ain't that what you
But that's
said?
part of my
With
process.
your lisp and shit?
That's part of my process.
Look within the self. What is being triggered? If you got to do more is a trigger for you, what is being triggered inside you?
What do you mean, what is being triggered?
You tell me. You said it's a trigger. What's being triggered?
Well, in that particular statement,
Just
dog,
her asking that question would.
Well, it ain't really a her. It ain't really
a her or him or
It's just.
Let's say a her.
your job.
Let's say
Let's just say a her.
you just said it was a trigger.
Right,
What is being
but,
triggered inside
Because
you?
I always feel like, dog, I show up the best way I possibly can. Can I do more? Can everybody do more? Absolutely. But asking me to do more does not help in any way at all to me. Right? We can have a conversation about what needs to get done.
Yeah.
And that's the conversation we can have. But you just presenting it like I'm falling short, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Makes me feel away. So I need to process that and understand that's not what it is.
Yeah.
That's just how I'm feeling about it.
So how do you do that without going off the? So how do you do that
I have to be quiet. I have to stay still and be quiet and say what I just said in my brain. And then let that shit wash through and wash over me. Then I can address it and have a productive conversation.
So how long has that been a trigger?
For a long time. In all kinds of different ways and things.
Do you feel like it's getting better?
Yes.
Okay.
Because before I wouldn't do that. Like there was no process.
0 to
I'm
100.
just coming off the motherfucking top rope. Like
This
motherfucking
nigga jumping
Superfly
off.
Jimmy
This nigga
Snuka
jumping
on
off
a-
this boy
on
right
a
here.
motherfucker.
He jumping
What
off.
you say?
He jumping off the
I'm
bridge.
I'm coming off the top turnbuckle, dog.
He
With the people
skydiving.
That dude,
He skydiving.
I'm immediately going into the figure four. Say it again. I dare you to say it again. With the tap out.
That DBE,
And man-
that do better elbow.
If you die, I'ma kill you.
Right.
That
Right, I'm
DBE.
immediately going into the sleeper hole.
Shoot.
All right. So because I think that in your description before, because we say these things, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's helpful to understand or to at least talk about what the process is like. Because even though we know it's there,
Right.
it's still
Yeah,
50-year-old motherfuckers walking around here pouting.
that's clean.
Not saying shit, shutting down.
Yeah.
And again, only we know, only you know,
Yeah.
if you making excuses.
Yeah, that's clean.
You can get on this motherfucker and you can talk about like how you doing this and that and the third.
Right.
But you know if you making excuses.
Right.
And now that we put this shit out into the air,
Right.
Yeah. You gotta live by it.
Yeah, it's accountability too.
Nah, it's accountability.
it's
That's what it is.
because this is something that we all, that is a part of the excuses piece, dog.
But I always reserve the right
Just
to come off the turn. I always reserve the right,
Do you?
dog, to
You-
come
you
off
do.
the turnbuckle.
you do.
I think that there's room
Yeah.
to come off the turnbuckle.
But you know what? And you gotta say that.
Right. Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Cause as you going up the turnbuckle,
Yep, as
I'm about
climbing
to
that
come
joint.
down. I'm about to come down on you.
Right.
And then,
Right.
but that's where the forgiveness and shit come in.
Grace.
Because
Grace.
these
Yeah.
women,
Yeah.
they got their own turnbuckles.
Yeah. Yeah, they got their turnbuckles too.
And so
for sure.
when you go up on yours,
Yeah.
and then you want
That's clean.
forgiveness
That's clean.
and grace,
Yeah. Yeah.
because you got all the justification in the world for why you went up there.
Yeah.
You got a whole story mapped out
Yep.
about why
Yeah.
doing better is a trigger.
Yeah.
And they got a whole story mapped out in their head
Right.
about
Doing better
why
than the
not doing better is a trigger.
trigger. Right.
So who gonna end up winning?
Yeah.
And we'll understand all of them dynamics, bro, and still enter into them spaces, making excuses for why
We went off.
we went off the
Oh,
motherfucking
y'all
rail.
turnbuckle.
Off the turn.
Because I think, because here's my thing, bro. I say let's be clean with it. Let's be 100% clean. Because as you're being clean with it, the subconscious actually loses a lot of power. If you verbalizing going up the turnbuckle while you going up the turnbuckle, it makes the feeling of going up the turnbuckle weird as a motherfucker.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you know it's not right.
Right.
But just still do it
Yeah.
Yeah.
so that you can feel how fucking stupid it is.
Yeah.
You look stupid.
Because the more you go up that turnbuckle,
Yeah.
while you say you going off the turnbuckle,
Yeah.
you gonna know you feel stupid as a
Yeah.
motherfucker because
Right.
you shed light onto it at that
Right.
moment.
Right.
Most of this shit within the ego and within our personalities has to be in the shadows, bro.
Yeah.
It has to be off in the darkness.
Yep.
That's where it has
the
its
power
most
is.
power.
Yep.
Yeah.
When you give that shit light
Yeah.
in life, by
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, I'm getting ready to go up here.
Yeah.
Cause you know it's weird. You
Yeah.
know it's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I done said some of the wildest shit. And right after it, I was like, and I know I don't believe none of this shit that I'm saying, but this is how the fuck I feel, and this is what I'm saying. And when I replay that shit, I sound goofy.
You just goofy as hell.
Wow. That's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny though.
And it makes me want to say it less.
Yeah. Yeah.
It literally, truly does.
Yeah.
Yeah, that does shorten the gap. Because you realize how
Because
wild
you
sound.
still got that.
Right.
You still got that part.
Yeah, you still there, but
It's just,
that's real. That's real.
it helps,
process.
bro.
The beauty is
The
in the
beauty
growth.
and the growth and the
That
process.
little when you go to there, that part right
You
there.
know,
As long as you
That's-
going, as long as you doing this, as long
Yeah.
as you going in, bro.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because we be like 6 months, you know, you a kid, you be like, damn, I shouldn't have choked her out.
Yeah.
But it took you 2.5 years to figure that out, motherfucker.
Damn.
Damn.
You just sitting.
I'm
you just
sitting there. Ooh.
Motherfucker having a bagel.
You said, ooh.
I shouldn't have choked her out.
Ooh.
Like that was-
I
I
think
shouldn't
this, I don't know.
Like that was wrong.
wrong?
I shouldn't have kicked her out.
Right.
Like, it,
Yeah.
I should have lit her shit on fire.
and this is, damn.
And, I mean, some
Those
other people
extreme-
do that too.
Some
Like, I
extremes.
should have lit his shit on fire.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all clean.
And if you doing it, if you lighting this shit on fire as you say you lighting it on fire,
I'm about to light this.
I'm great going here and light all his shit on fire.
yeah.
That's
Because there are levels to this shit that,
Yeah.
that kind of, I ain't talking about for like people who are like mentally challenged, dog,
No.
who got real emotional shit.
Yeah.
But like the people who
Who
let their emotions get the best of them,
Yeah.
sometimes.
and don't go too wild with it.
Sometimes, not all the time.
Yeah.
All right, man. We at 120.
Oh, that's love.
How you feel, bro?
My ass hurts in this fucking chair.
Pause.
Okay.
But it's a great conversation.
You want us to leave that in the podcast?
Nigga, y'all better.
That's it.
that your ass hurts?
You said it. It's in.
Pause.
Like,
Pause.
I just wanna.
You say pause.
We
Just let it ride.
we gonna. Where are we looking?
Yeah.
We gonna.
Yeah.
He didn't mean that.
Yeah.
He meant
He
he's
something else.
uncomfortable.
Right. That's what he meant.
He-
That's what he meant.
Let's make an excuse.
Yeah. Make an excuse for him. We're gonna make an excuse for him.
So yeah,
man.
I appreciate our growth as men, dog,
Yeah.
and how we are really committed, man, to our betterment as human beings, and how we connecting with people and
Yeah.
helping each other and helping ourselves, man.
Trying, dog.
We
Trying.
doing it.
Just trying. Yeah.
We doing it. We doing it. And that's a part of like, it's the thing that I love about this brother, and it's the thing that I love about you, man. Like, the excuses are part of it. And managing them is something that we're doing well, and we're not making justifications, man, to not work to be the best part of it. Managing excuses is just a part of the growth.
Yeah.
It's just a part of how you, you know, get from one day to the next.
Yep.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I know you got for you guys being on this, having this platform. I know, definitely. It makes like you can't preach this and then not continuously every single day trying to get better in these different areas of your life.
Right. Because you say it out loud.
You saying you're speaking into the earth.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so, you saying that, or you're suggesting, and you know you're saying it, but you outwardly are saying this out to yourself, back to yourself.
Yep.
And then when we done with this shit, we actually go and look at it for an extremely extended period of time.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it just changes, for me, it changes my relationship to these ideas and concepts, because these aren't like surface level discussions that we're having and ways of trying to solve the problems. And that's why I think we do, especially like adding like the flavor of just kind of like who we are as just men and black and all our vibe, and the fact that we fly motherfuckers and we thinking about solving like life problems in like dope motherfucking ways. So the way that we can present this shit, I feel, is palatable and relatable to people who are working to try to improve themselves.
Yep.
You know, if you want to just sit up and look and see who's twerking and who's twatting and who's all of that old kind of shit, like this ain't your vibe, dog. You know what I'm saying? But if you that motherfucker that's really trying to figure out how to move some obstacles out the way and understand, you know, like a lot of the shit that's going on with you, like especially as a dude or in your relationships with people, man, like that's what we here for. You know, and we helping each other, dog. A lot of the shit that we tap into off camera, we bring that shit, you know, in front of the camera, man, because you know we want to be better, dog.
If Moses is really on it, you know, bringing it back to the art world, at least for me, it's gems.
Yeah.
There's little gems in here.
Yep.
If you figure out a way to kind of throw them in the art piece, you know, that's what I like about it too. That's what
Oh, and shout out to Progress and Progression.
Of process and progression.
Of process and progression.
You can't never get nothing right, dog.
Man, no, we gonna get some audio from like the first episode.
Yeah, that was dope, man. I appreciate that.
I let him listen to it.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
It was so ill, and I can't remember who the jazz piece was underneath it. But you know,
I was like it's after that one joint, and it comes in. Yeah, that stuff is
Hard
dope.
Hands.
Yeah.
It was after Hard Hands. Yep, going into the mud.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's appreciate the love, man. I thank you for joining us today, man.
Yes,
I hope that you're more than just an artist, and I feel like the way that you create, if people actually sit and digest your music, get to know you in extremely intimate ways, and I hope that, you know, just our discussions about some of this stuff, even though we're talking about music, we just also talking about like how we manage these other relationships in our life, and music is just kind of like a big part of it. But I hope people got to kind of, you know, see a different side of you, man. And you ain't a man of many words, and you like to, you know, you man, perfect in every way. And so I hope people got to tap in. And
I just like the conversation anyway, man. I think sometimes I've told you this before, like, you know, sometimes when you have a session, I actually enjoy the session more than I like actually making the creation of the music, because the music is easy. Yeah. That's easy, but when you come to connect with somebody, that just makes that process that much easier.
Yeah. Fellowship.
And the fellowship, you know what I mean? Sometimes I come away, you know, having the most awesome conversation, you know, 2-3 hours, and we ain't getting nothing done. Yeah. I still got some fruit though.
Yeah. That's right.
You know, out of the whole thing, which is cool.
That's dope.
You know, so yeah, this is a perfect thing, man.
Yeah. You check him out, man. He on all platforms. Tall Black Guy. Spotify. Tidal, right?
Tidal, Spotify,
all
Amazon,
Amazon.
iTunes,
Check him out, man. You'll thank us later. It was he's doing incredible stuff, man, and has done incredible stuff. So,
What music you been listening to?
This cat Ryan Porter, jazz guy.
Ryan Porter?
Yeah, Ryan Porter.
Okay.
Trumpet
nice.
player.
Old guy, young guy.
About 40.
Okay,
45,
so
50.
He's been making music for a minute.
I think it's a record called The Enthusiast.
The Enthusiast?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yellow cover. He on the front of it. Nice little piece right there.
Shout out to Ryan Porter. We gonna definitely highlight him in a Spotify podcast if it's cool, and just kind of like make your anybody else you listening to?
What have I listened to recently? This cat Archie Shep. Another jazz guy. That's all I've been listening to is jazz.
That's dope.
Ryan Porter, Archie Shep.
Recently today, I got hip to Tyler on those two little joints. I had to digest it in the whip.
Yeah.
It was two of them. I don't remember the name of the song.
Massa and Blowing in the Wind.
Man, listen here.
I like Tyler, man, but
You gotta listen to that new one.
No,
I have.
Oh,
And I like it.
Okay.
It's solid.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
solid. But I think there's more to him that he's gonna tap into.
He young, man.
I know. That's
he a
what I'm saying.
baby.
Yeah.
That's why I give
He's
him
like
space.
what, like in his 20s still?
He's a little older.
I
than
think
that.
he might be 30.
Yeah.
30?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah. He's been around for a minute.
He's been around for a minute. You know.
He's progressing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
And
cool.
I like the trajectory.
Yes.
And I like how he's tapped into a bunch of different things. I like the multimedia nature of his creativity.
Yeah.
So the fact that he's doing like commercials and directing commercials, directing his music videos, and like even with this Call Me When You Get Lost, and how he's got all these different things that he developed to tie into the marketing of it. Like it's just dope shit, man. Like he ain't just saying, "Oh, I'm great, come out with an album." He's doing it like in a real thoughtful storytelling kind of way.
He's been doing cartoons. They've been creating shit on Adult.
They had that Adult Swim.
Mm-hmm.
They had an Adult Swim. He had an Adult Swim?
Like a kind of like a Jackass type of.
Then he did. There's a cartoon that he made. That's on Adult Swim.
He did a Mountain Dew
And
commercial.
Loiter Squad, I think, is his too. But I think that's on. I don't know where that is, but
He in a gang of shit.
Yeah.
And he got a clothing line.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he rolling.
Yeah.
And those kinds of things, because I find myself interested in a lot of different types of stuff too. And I think it's dope when a motherfucker like him can or just people in general who are able to just move shit out of the way, especially knowing how hard it is to do certain things, and then to say, oh, let me go try something over
Let me
here
just try
and
it.
actually go do it.
Yeah.
No matter how it necessarily comes out, it might not be the best, because you might have limited like resources in a way. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
But you still went to go fucking do it.
Right.
And it exists
Right.
because of that.
Yeah.
Right.
That's dope.
Right.
That's dope.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna make it do what it do.
Yeah. Thank you for coming through again, man. Appreciate you.
All right, brothers. This is fantastic, so.
Appreciate you, man.
All right, man.
That's what it is, man.
Shout out. I didn't mean that. Out. I don't know.
We out.
All right.
Peace.